Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Saturday Live. Promises to be very insightful.
You can do that thing you do too, making sure. Hello.
Good evening, Papa.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I thought
And you?
you would greet people well before you brought me up. You just brought me straight. You didn't greet your people.
I was saying good evening, but I saw you were ready to come up.
I know. I'll just send a request that one. You don't have to accept immediately. You greet your people, connect with them first before you bring us. How have you been? Did you go out today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry?
I had a long meeting today.
Wow. Well done. Is it work related or?
Church.
Okay. Ah, well done. Which church do you attend?
I said Davis Christian Center, Lekki.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
It sounds like a good church. Who is the pastor? Is it a good church?
It's a very good church. My pastor is Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo and his amazing wife, Pastor Mildred.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay,
It's
I'll
very
come
interesting. If you're not in our church, I don't know where
I'll come and visit.
Oh, we'll be glad to have you.
Okay, so hello everybody. How are people? How is everybody today? Today is interesting. We're doing sex facts you don't know. And we're bringing Aproko Doctor in the house. Very interesting guy. I love his page. I really love his page. I love his page. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. If you are here and you're not following us on Wholesome Sexuality, please just follow now as you are here. All right. Wholesome Sexuality is our page that deals with sexuality wholesomely. If you're not following us on Wholesome Sexuality, please just click the follow button now. Our page that deals with sexuality. Then if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel of Wholesome Sexuality, please go subscribe also. Amazing page, amazing content. And our sexologist just shared her story of night. Who has watched it? Let me see. Who has watched YouTube video of Mrs. Vera's sex first night, her first experience in her marriage with her husband? Who has watched that video? Let me see. Can I see comments? Who has watched that video? How was it, guys? People that have watched the video. It's on our YouTube channel. It's the latest post on our YouTube channel. Mrs. Vera is our sexologist, and she and her husband married as virgins. And she shared her first night, how it was. Very interesting, very, very interesting. You know.
Oh, we've been getting feedbacks on WhatsApp on that video.
Really?
Yes, we're getting feedbacks on WhatsApp. So people with similar experiences have been coming back to say, "Oh, I watched the video. I never knew that this could. They don't know that they can have something good out of the first experience, or how they can channel their first experience." We'll be having good feedbacks on the
WhatsApp. Very, very interesting video. Please, who has watched the video on our YouTube channel? If you have not subscribed to the Wholesome Sexuality YouTube channel, you are missing. Go subscribe now. She shared her story. Her and her husband married as virgins, and first night was interesting. Very, very interesting. You have to go watch it. If you have not watched, subscribe to the YouTube channel, go and subscribe. Follow on Instagram also. So, Vera, can you see Aproko's request? Has he requested?
No, he hasn't.
Hmm? Okay. I'm sure he will then. You, okay. So, but what was in that video? Gideon is you. Tell him to come. So Vera, for you, what was like the most embarrassing part of that video for you? Share your story.
When I watched it,
Yeah.
or when I was shooting it.
Anyone?
Okay. I think the most embarrassing part of it was when when you okay, so when you were, I think you were surprised about the fact that I was playing games. So
Yes.
the more you asked about, I was wondering, what are we still going around this story now? The fact that I was playing games on the wedding night. And,
I'm telling you, wanted to dupe the man of God. Wanted to dupe the man of God.
and when I watched, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Actually watched this when it was, and it gave me some sort of some another level of confidence. It's out there, man. We can't take it back.
I'm telling you. For those that are just joining, Mrs. Vera is our sexologist, very trained, highly trained sexologist, and interestingly, she married as a virgin. She and her husband were both virgins, interestingly, and she just released our video on our YouTube channel, Wholesome Sexuality YouTube channel, of their first night experience. It was very, very interesting. And she was trying to dupe the man of God. So, did you go and watch it? Was that to dupe the man of God?
Right.
Please check if Aproko Doctor has requested. Check.
No, sir.
They send him a request. You know how to send a request, right?
Yes.
So just type his name and send him a request. You know, so have you sent? So guys, we have 2 free webinars coming up. And we need to register. The events are free, but registration is required. So we have one for about to wed, soon to wed couples.
I've invited him.
Good. So we have some soon to wed couples, a webinar for soon to wed couples. So it's a webinar. We just share some basic tips with you. You know what to expect, what to do, how to prepare for that night. You know, because we've actually dealt with some cases like that both virgins, and we had to talk them through. Some take weeks, some take months. So, and our record, the one person that says highest record is 2 years. 2 years record. You know, so those webinars are free. Then there's also Virgin and Thriving. So this one is the second webinar is for virgins that just want to continue to hold on till they get married, what they should know, how to keep themselves, and things like that. So those 2 webinars, you can register on the link on the profile of the page. They are free, but registration is required. We also have a webinar for people that are trying to break free from pornography and masturbation. So there's a webinar for that. The next part is going to come. Then there's also one for people dealing with any form of trauma or abuse. So if you have been sexually abused or molested in the past, and you want to just receive help on how to break free, get some healing. So those are about 4 different webinars. All right. Have you sure you've sent the request?
Yes, I have. Somebody said Aproko Doctor is doing Aproko. I have sent the request.
Okay, so why is it not coming up? Aproko Doctor, if you are there, send us a request. When you join, you're supposed to send us a request immediately. So you to just send us requests just in case we're not seeing you. So those are a few of the webinars we're having that are coming up soon. So to register, all you need to do is to go to the link in the bio for Wholesome Sexuality page. You will see the different webinars there. Register for the one that concerns you. Only 2 are available now for registration. That is the one for virgin and thriving. We deal with a lot of virgins, Actually talk to a lot of virgins. That's it. People have the impression that, because there's so much promiscuity. Okay, I think I'm going to
Yeah.
Hello, Doc. Are you driving or you're just in your car? I can't hear you.
That's my whole big part. Hold on, let me get mine.
Doc, we can't hear you. We're hearing you, but we don't know what you're saying. We can hear you, but we can't pick your words. At least I can't pick your words. I don't know. Vera, are you hearing clearly?
No, sir.
Okay, let me put on the headsets and find out why. Please.
Yeah. And also, we're not seeing your face, so hope you know.
Yeah, we'll sort that out.
Okay. He has left. Check it out. Okay. We actually deal with a lot of virgins and all that. So we have virgin and thriving. People think because there's a lot of promiscuity all over the world, everybody is having those things. It's not true. There are many, many people that are virgins. Some because they are convictions and Christian understanding. Some because they just don't have anybody that's ready to have sex with them. So there are 2 kinds of virgins. There's virgin by will and virgin by choice and by force. But any which way, okay, virgin by choice and virgin by force. But any which way, we have the webinar titled Virgin and Thriving. So we're going to just talk to virgins, people that are virgins, and how they're surviving in this our mad world, and what they can do to help themselves and keep their focus. Because some, after keeping themselves for many years, they just reach a stage and just, lose their focus and everything and just throw everything away. So talk to you and talk you through this season of your life. Then there are
they've started pushing the agenda that being a virgin for a long time has a side effect.
Yeah. They know, those are people that think they know more than God now. Yes. But God passed them, as we normally say.
God is greater.
God passed them. Then there's the webinar for those that are soon to wed. So soon to wed couples. All right. These 2 events are free, but registration is required. And registration is ongoing right now. So you can go and register. Check if you have requested again. You have to check now if he has requested and add him back.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, requested. And I've added it.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I think I can now.
I have tried using the headset. The difference.
It's not so clear. Just say something.
So I'm saying some things, and I'm wondering if you can hear me.
We can hear you now. Hope it stays this stable.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Good evening. Apologies for joining this late. Nigeria caught up with me. Yeah.
Are you in Lagos?
So I hope we did not keep too many people waiting. Yes, I am in Lagos, and it's a funny story because I actually set a reminder and then I laid down and 30 plus I slept off. It was the alarm that woke me up.
Thank
Apologies.
God. Thank God.
Yeah. So how are we doing? How's the program in Abuja coming? I'm guessing it's there's a lot of message being shared. There's a lot of information, and And the good book says that the people are set free by information.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me just paraphrasing.
Yes, I know.
So the more people know, so the more people know, the better we are.
Yes, so.
But thank you. Thank you for this page. Thank you for what you're doing. It's not very common where you find a quote unquote a Nigerian pastor talking about sex. It's not a very common thing. We like to shy away from conversations like that. Meanwhile, we at the very basis of our beings, especially our physical beings, people are very sexual. You know, and then pages like us also help to, you know, guide people properly in that area.
Yes. Okay. Before we start first, why are you called Aproko Doctor?
Funny story. While I was thinking of a name to call this, which is everything I do, I think it was in a conversation with a friend, and someone said, all these Aproko that they are putting inside people's business, and it kind of stuck. And I figured, why not just call myself Aproko Doctor? Because basically what I will be doing is, quote unquote, putting my mouth in other people's business. Just that this time it will be their health. And that's one. The second reason why I decided to use Aproko Doctor was, if I had gone the route of being, you know, the average Nigerian doctor, very few people will listen to you because you're not catching their attention. So the reason you're probably, you know, oh, why is a doctor being called Aproko in the first place? You get, or I don't think it's a serious person to be called Aproko Doctor. But then when you listen, you're like, okay, I see why. So yes, that's exactly why I am called Aproko Doctor.
Wow, nice, nice. Very nice. And I think the name is riding well. It's doing its job. It's fulfilling its purpose.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, so today we're doing sex facts you don't know.
Okay.
You know, it's not limited to anything, but basically it has to be around sex. But we just want to bring more general information, you know, about sex. There are a lot of misconceptions out there, a lot of half-truth, a lot of, you know, just ideology that just passes from person to person that is not verifiable or not verified. So, you know, this is what you do. You're a doctor, and I know a few of your videos I've watched. I've been enjoying many of them. I particularly love the April Fool. I love it. You know, so are your boyfriend? Are you still there? Network. Are you there, Doc?
His network.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doc, we can't hear you. Okay, so I'm sure he's going to come back. He's going to come back. Vera, put your hand. Go ahead.
I said that April Fool video caught a lot of attention, you know, because almost everybody, a lot of women are going to do body work and stuff.
Pressure. The pressure is too much. The pressure is real. You see, with all the economic and political issues going on, people have different problems. So their problem is just that they are backside. That is their big problem in this world. Though. All the things we are talking about is not their problem. Pin your handle so that you stay.
Oh.
Yeah, with all the economic and political, election is coming, this, that, you know, some people's problems
are different.
Please be checking whether he's requested again so that you add him.
Okay.
Check his request and add him. Check.
Yes, I've added him again.
Okay. Again. Oh, sorry. Okay. Are you back now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Let me try that again. My network just dropped off.
Well, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was saying that there's so much misconceptions out there, a lot of half-truths, that I particularly liked your April Fool post. You know, so a lot of things. So the floor is yours. Flo, tell us some of the sex facts that, you know, that people don't know. And anyway we like, we'll stop you, ask questions, we'll continue. So just Flo.
Okay. One of the most important sex facts, or rather sex myths, is a lady must bleed during her first sexual intercourse. Yes, and this has caused a lot of problems.
Yeah.
This has sent a lot of people back to their families. This has given people unprintable names, and it is not true. Why people think that people must bleed during their first intercourse is simply because of an old truth, or rather an old belief that every lady has, quote unquote, a particular shit that covers the... Are we allowed to say their names?
Yes, now. Yeah, that's what this page is about. So.
Exactly. Thank you
That's
very much.
right.
I just needed the terms and conditions. Yes. So people believe that there is a particular gate man covering the gates of the vagina, and it is only during the first time that this gate must be torn so that sex will happen. Quote unquote, TNI. But the way the body was built by God, and people having different kinds of vaginas, the same way there are different kinds of penises, the hymen is not completely covering the vagina. There are different types. Sometimes there's the covering that, it's probably making the whole of the vagina tighter. There's some perforations, but not completely. It's not like nylon that completely covers. Because if it completely covers the vagina, then something is going to happen. When a lady starts seeing her period, she's not going to see the fluid come out physically, because there's something covering it there's something preventing it from coming outside. And that's what we call an imperforate hymen. It's actually a medical condition. So all those blood piles up inside, and she's going to have to need a particular operation to bring it out. That's one. Number two, the hymen is so thin that something as simple as climbing a tree or riding a bicycle can rupture it. And it's going to look like period. It's going to look like actual period. But why is there blood coming out? Is it that my period was supposed to come yesterday and it did not come? It's coming today. And lady does not know that the hymen is torn. Then during the first experience, sometimes there could be a couple of reasons why she doesn't bleed, or rather why a lady does bleed. And for some people, especially for a lady who is not sexually active before, there could be a lot of tension. This is not something that has happened. And so she's tense, she's afraid, she's worried. And tension, fear, and worry do not go hand in hand with sexual enjoyment. Because during that sexual arousal, if you're relaxed, if you're, in the right place of mind, in the right frame of mind, there's going to be, quote unquote, an expansion in your vagina. So the vagina elongates and expands to be able to accommodate the penis. But because she's tense, she's worried, she's confused, this has never happened before, it stays the same way, it's tight. And a lot of men are not aware that this is happening. So they just, quickly, without any form of lubrication, whatever, try to go in. This could cause tears. that could come out as, that bleeding that people see on the first time. Also, if the kind of hymen that she has is the kind that, almost completely covers and just has some perforations, during that first intercourse, it's going to have to pass through it. You will see that blood. But if she has the kind that, it doesn't completely cover, it's just like it just coats the inner circle or the inner this thing, and she's relaxed, it's not going to happen. Because I have seen women who come up and ask, they said, but I did not bleed in my first time. Am I normal? These are questions people ask. And some people even go as far as having, I said a particular product one that made me laugh. It was a restore your virginity product.
Wow.
So before the first time, they will get a particular substance and insert it in.
Wow.
And once the man goes in, it's going to rupture that. And rupturing that, it's going to look like blood. Oh, yes, my wife is a virgin. So it's not a must that people must bleed on their first night. And I'm saying night because we assume that sex always happens at night. That people must bleed on their first night. So that is not true. Some people will make the argument, look, you are now giving other people the excuse to use that as a reason to lie and say, okay, yes, doctors have said we're not going to bleed on the first time. That's why it's important the kind of person you marry to.
Yes.
Or the kind of person you're involved with. Because we all have a past. And if you cannot believe me when I say I have not done this before, and that's why, and I don't need to bleed. There is no proof. There's no report card anywhere that says that she must bleed on the first night. Have we used it as a proof for other people in olden times? There are some traditions that they wait for you to come out. Then you come out, they display a white handkerchief with blood in it and say, yes, we paid the right money for the wife. So this is false, this is wrong. And always have this kind of communications with your partner. And
and if you don't trust the person really, then your problem is not the blood now. And
yeah. So if you don't, because I have seen cases where this guy doesn't trust his wife simply because she did not bleed on the first time, and he did not even bring it up in conversation. He just, he just kept it somewhere. She said she was a virgin, but she did not bleed. So that means she lied to me. And, this is somebody who used to be very active during her teenage years. She was, quote unquote, the tomboy in school. It was only after we had explained this to him that, he now figured that he needed to go have this particular conversation. This is something he had carried for almost 3 years in his head. So these things happened. These things happened.
Okay, let me ask a twist to that question. So is it possible for someone to have sex, maybe like with their wife for the first time, and she bleeds, but she wasn't a virgin?
It's possible.
It's here.
It is very possible. There are people who believe that the intensity of the sex is, very proportional to the kind of enjoyment that woman is supposed to have. And this particular belief comes from pornography. People watch porn, and when they watch porn, there's a lot of hammering going on. And because of this hammering, they believe that if it's not hammered, then it's not enjoyable. In the process of hammering, you can touch the cervix. That's one. Repeated hitting on the cervix can bruise the cervix.
So all this shifting womb thing is real.
Yeah. So you can't we would come to that because you cannot physically shift the womb, but you can injure the cervix. And if a lady has, certain issues like PID or cervicitis, where the cervix is inflamed and it's really painful, sometimes you can cause bleeding. Or if there is a mismatch in, not mismatch, if she's not properly aroused and there's no widening or elongation going on, it's usually very tight. That particular, some people don't believe in lubricants. They believe that if you're a woman, you must get wet. That rivers must flow, and if the rivers don't flow, something is wrong. But there are some people who just need help getting wet, and that's why I would also say one of the first things you should get as a married couple in your bedroom is lubricants. Because there are times when those rivers will not flow, but it does not mean
there's anything wrong with you.
If Nigeria, that is a fuel-producing nation, can have fuel scarcity, then anything can be scarce. Doc, did you hear me?
No. I had a call coming in. I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I was saying that if Nigeria, that is a fuel-producing nation, can have fuel scarcity, then there can be scarcity in that area.
Yeah.
You see?
Doctor, Vera, tell us a bit more about this lubricant issue. Vera, tell us a bit about this lubricant issue. It's a national problem.
Yes, it's a national problem, actually. I think the major problem we have right now is not so much about believing in lubricants. It's about how to use the lubricants. So a lot of couples, in quotes, because I don't want to say men or women, a lot of couples don't know that the vagina is a canal. So they take the lubricant. Some people take it as anointing oil and then anoint the vulva, right? And then try to have penetrating sex. I mean, the canal is still dry. You are anointing the vulva. I read somewhere today, sir, somebody actually reached out that she has been using Ori.
Huh?
Yes. Has been using Ori as lubricant.
Okay, permits me to come in there. So first of all, the Goya oil has no business near the vagina. I think I mentioned Goya oil because for some reason that's the only oil we use for anointing oil, and I wonder why. I think I'm going to ask why. Is it that there is an agreement reached by Goya with the Nigerian churches? We have to ask this question.
They are our sponsor.
So that is one. Those type of oils have no business near the vagina because first off, just as she said, the vagina is a canal, and this canal requires a delicate balance of right microorganisms and, I don't say wrong, but left microorganisms. Now, these right microorganisms are what we refer to as lactobacilli. They are the major landlords of the vagina. That's why the vagina has an acidic pH, because of the lactobacilli. Now, when people use Goya oil or the anointing oil, whatever it does, because there's no other liquids in around, and they try to, use that to make a way where there seems to be no way. Sometimes that oil can pull, because oil is not as free as water.
Yeah.
So that oil pulls in and sometimes stays inside and coats the walls of the canal. Wow. When you do that, remember that you also introduced a penis into the vagina or a finger or whatever. You can trap some germs inside. So it is always better to use a water-based, water or silicone-based lubricants. There are plenty in the market. Just go to pharmacy and say, I want water-based lubricants, not oil-based lubricants. That's one. If you are not yet ready for kids, you still have no business using an oil-based lubricant during sex, because an oil-based lubricant can react with a condom. The latex, especially if you're using a latex condom. If you use a latex condom and an and it reacts to an oil-based lubricant, that reaction can weaken the latex such that it tears very easily.
Right. Okay, so you just mentioned the condom part. Some people don't even know that using a condom, you need to use a lubricant.
Oh, that means there's a lot of work for us to do.
There's a lot of work.
Our work is very Our work is taking
this whole lubricant issue. There's a lot of work. You know, some people, okay, it seems it's the man that wants to penetrate, so let's just lubricate him, right? And so some don't lubricate the man, because man like, I'm good, I can break any wall, right? And then he takes the lubricant and lubricates the vulva, forgetting that it's a canal. So what they've successfully done is that you've rubbed a lubricant on the door. You have not rubbed the lubricant inside, you know, so inside is still dry, so they still battle with penetration. And then you come back and say it didn't work. So most time the first question I always ask is, how did you apply it? And they've never disappointed me. I rubbed it on her.
So can you rub it on their body?
Oh my God.
All right. So go on. So Doc, go on. Give us another one.
Yeah. So that is one. When it comes to enjoyment in women, people believe that, you know, once you penetrate, all is done. And there's nothing further from the truth than that. Because let me say this. We all started, all of us in this room, everybody watching this, we all started in the womb as female. Right? And at some point during our development, our bodies, you know, needed some particular kind of confirmation. So what's the genetic composition of this person? And they say XY. And then said, oh, that means you have to be male. And because of that, there's, you know, some hormones that are, you know, changed, the anti-Mullerian hormone, that now begins to redesign what our genitalia looks like. That's why there's a lot of similarities, even though some people don't see it, between the female genitalia and the male genitalia. There's a lot of similarities. In the man, you have what is called the scrotum. Our Igbo people call it akpam, even though it sounds vulgar when you say it in Igbo. And I don't know why, for some reason. So the scrotum, also known as the akpam, in the female, is there. And if you look at the female external genitalia, the labia majora, which is those doors that you part, is similar to that. It's so your scrotum developed from that labia majora. I'm going somewhere. Now, the most sensitive part of a man's penis, which is what they call the head, another place known as the glans penis, is the most sensitive part. It is touching of this part that leads to ejaculation in men. So when you hear a man say, I don't enjoy it, or it's too free, and we are going to come to that, or it's too wide, it's simply because they are not getting enough stimulation on their glans penis. Right? Now, that's the most sensitive part. In the female, that is the clitoris. It is just above the two entrances. So there's the first entrance, there's the first exit, because nothing's supposed to enter except in a medical condition. There's the first exit, which is the urethra. That's where urine comes out from. Right? Then there's a second exit. The second entrance is the vagina itself. Now, there are some women who may never achieve orgasm from just penetrative sex. Mm-hmm. That's why you also need to have these conversations with your wife, with your partner, and, you know, experiment as time goes on. Because people talk a lot about sexual compatibility, even though I have my thoughts on that. So it is this particular, so there are people that will come from, that would achieve orgasm via clitoral stimulation, and there are others who would achieve orgasm via penetration. Now, even the penetration is different, because it's not just the penetration that leads to the orgasm. Sometimes the penetration have to be in such a way that it still touches the back of the clitoris, which we refer to as the G-spot, right? So that constant stimulation. So it's not just, what's going on? I don't enjoy sex anymore. You also need to know if you're part of those women who would achieve orgasm via clitoral stimulation. And if you are, it's something you need to discuss with your partner. If not, they will pound you like food from now to tomorrow, and you're not going to enjoy anything. It is just going to feel like a chore, which many people are going through. You have seen people like that. It's, for many people, they don't even want to think about it. That is why in certain cultures, they cut off the clitoris so that people cannot enjoy, so that the women cannot enjoy sex. Because the idea behind that clitoral, you know, the beheading of the clitoris is so that they don't become quote unquote promiscuous. So yeah, so that they don't become promiscuous. And because, you know, because of that, they now cut off the clitoris. But that alone can, and there are different stages. There's the stage where they cut and they even sew up. So they make the whole, yes, Pastor Kingsley, yes. The things we have seen, the things we have heard, it is mind-blowing. And there are people who, even during the first time, they can't because of how small the hole has become. Some people would now have to require another surgery to open up the vagina again. So, yes. So, but, you know, in the first stages where they just cut off the clitoris, some women who would only achieve orgasm from clitoral stimulation will not. Sometimes they would have to bring their mind into those, into the picture and all that. So yes, that's the second myth that we're attacking tonight. Sexual enjoyment in women does not only occur via penetration. So it's not only, penetrated, I've done my work as a man. Yeah. Why are you not with me? No. And this is a message to our fellow married men. I know sometimes your blood is hot, but it's not you just, you know, touch and you expect that the doors will be parted for you, or you just strike and water will flow. Though that is not how it works. For women, it's different. It's different than men. Men tend to be aroused. I don't want to say fall in love. Men tend to be aroused by what they see. And sometimes what they see does not mean also seeing with their physical eyes. They can see it with their mind's eye. And before you know what's happening, a man is already in the mood because in his mind he has seen it. Right? For a woman, it's different. A woman has to be brought in the mood, except she's already in the mood before you. There are cases where it happens, you know, but in our experiences, we've noticed it's not as frequent as the men. And because of this, people don't just you just go jump in, do your business in 5 minutes and get out. By the time she's already getting to the peak, that's when you're finishing off. Yeah. And at some point you begin to look selfish. So our fellow men that are married, please sacrifice. Pay the price first before you except you people have a mutual understand. So yes, that's true.
No, Vera, okay, no, go ahead. Are you going to stay on that point, or you're still on this one?
Yeah, no, I was moving on. I was moving on from that.
Okay, before you go on, Vera, do you have anything to add to all these things so far?
Yes, sir. We've had situations whereby, okay, so two particular situations stood out for me when he was talking. Someone said it's pounding. That was the term she used. It's pounding pleasurable, right? And I'm like, I wanted to find out, why did you ask that question? And she goes, my husband just comes, mounts me and goes. And I'm still wondering, what are we doing? You know, what's happening? What's happening? And I'm asking her, have you had a conversation with him? She's like, you know, when this typical Igbo men, I don't know why I have a feeling like Aproko is going to do kids about this thing very soon. You know, because he has been saying our men, our married men. He has been saying it, our married men. Yes. So, and another situation where the woman says she only reaches orgasm if she does like a dry run on her husband. Yes, even though she has a history, but she felt she was damaged goods. So I had to start advising her that no, it doesn't only happen by penetration, right? You need to also teach him how to pleasure you. And you need to teach him how to pleasure you. If you found out that this is your pleasure spot, help him to pleasure you. He is not a magician. He can't tell. You need to tell him. And some people don't even know that. Well, sorry, men, but some men don't know that this process can be done at the same time. So the clitoris can be stimulated during penetration. So at that point, the woman doesn't even know where you are coming from. She has no clue where you are. She's in another realm, right?
You're
enjoying
You're preaching right now.
I'm preaching.
Yes, you are. You are.
The thing is that we are here. We really need to keep saying these things out there because, sorry, my Igbo brothers, but they think it's just, I'm ready.
By power.
By power, might. It's not by power, it's not by might.
Okay, but Vera, let me ask you, so somebody that is circumcised, a lady that is circumcised, so what can she do?
So you know that, like he said, there are different types of clitoral mutilation, which is circumcision. There are different types. There are some that they just cut off the tip of the clitoris. Now, from my research and understanding, the clitoris is not just that tip, right? It flows all through the vagina, the inside, the whole. So it looks, it looks like this. It looks like this. So this is the tip. This is where most circumcision is done. They cut hair off, but all this is still inside there. Right. So proper stimulation, like he said, there's a way you would do penetrative sex that the penis hits the back of. Now this part is inside, not outside. So first things first, the person self has to understand that I'm really not damaged good. I can still have enjoyable sex. But the thing, the story out there is that because you are circumcised, that's the end. They killed everything.
Okay. All right. Everything. All right. For those that are asking questions, please use the question icon because that's the only way we can retrieve your questions. Or else to flow past. So use the question icon. Before Doc goes, he will answer like 2 or 3 questions before he goes. So please use the question icon. All right.
So we also need to know that the clitoris is the only organ in the body whose job is pleasure.
Pleasure. That's the only thing it was created.
That's the only reason it's there. It's not there for decoration. It's not there to aid childbirth. It's not there. There's no other reason. The only reason it's there is pleasure. The matter of fact, it has over 9,000 nerve endings. over 9,000. It is so. It is. No. Let us move on. The third myth, according to Nigerians, is the longer the sex, the better. Yes, and because of this, our young men. Yes, so we believe that the longer the sex, better. And because of this, our young men have abused a lot of quote unquote herbal medications through bitters. That's why bitters sell in Nigeria.
Wow.
Bitters sell a lot in Nigeria before. Yes, because on the body is supposed to make you last longer. And I'm still going to come back to the reason why, certain men are not lasting longer. But we would finish with this first. First off, there's no time anywhere. There's no rule book that says good sex is 20 minutes. There's no good book that says good sex is 1 hour. As a matter of fact, sometimes the longer the sex, the more comfortable it becomes, especially when there's no lubricant, right? Because we also need to realize that friction takes place during those rhythmic dance. And during that dance, a lady could get dry and she would need rest, right? And when she needs to rest, we continue, she gets dry again, you probably need to add lubrication and all that. So the whole idea that it must last this long is false. Some people need to also find out that if the woman achieves orgasm before you, it is better for you. Because if she achieves orgasm and you do whatever you can to make sure that she achieves orgasm in 5-6 minutes, depending on where her mind is at that moment. It may take longer if she's not there with you presently. Or if the baby is crying and you're still trying to, of course it's not going to happen. She's not going to achieve orgasm. Women are more connected to other things. They're connected to their emotions. A man can decide to have sex in his parents' house when they go and visit, but the woman will not be comfortable. Exactly. Under the staircase, pretty, let's just do this thing. But she's not connected. She's not there yet. She's not relaxed. So you need to also find a situation where she's relaxed and help her achieve orgasm. These are things you need to. I think we also need to have another discussion about, achieving orgasm as both man and woman. But, we are here to attack this. That's one. Then number two, these 2 minutes men that we talk about, 2 minutes men, Indomie man, we all know what it means. Sometimes it is the men that bring it up on themselves. And here's why. I say sometimes. Most men started masturbating as teenagers. As people, we go through certain levels of development. And even as children, there's something called the phallic phase of development. That's where a child starts to contact his own genitals and then realizes, this thing I'm touching is kind of sweet. I don't, like I said, at the very basis of our beings, we are sexual beings. And I feel that's one of the reasons the Bible says flee sexual sins. The Bible did not say flee murder, because normally you're not thinking of, it's not everybody that is thinking of taking a knife and slitting someone's throat, except, but when it comes to sexual sins, the Bible says flee. Now, so the 2 minutes man. So at some point as teenagers, we begin to masturbate, especially as men. And sometimes the most places where these boys have this masturbation is in their father's house, in a toilet somewhere in school, in their toilets, in a shared bedroom with like 5 or 6 other people, and there is no time to yourself. And so it is important that you ejaculate fast.
Wow.
It is very important that ejaculation happens fast so that you will not be caught. Now, over years, this person has trained himself to ejaculate under 30 seconds. He's trained. From touching to ejaculation, 36.56 seconds. So then you put their record. Sometimes it's 12.83. So this happens over and 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 over for years. It continues for years. And it probably now has its first sexual intercourse for many people around 19 or 20. And he notices that the day he decides to try the real thing, he goes in and under 2 seconds, he's done. And he's wondering, what is the problem? Many times, he was brought on by himself. But they don't know these things. And the people who sell these, quote unquote, drugs that help you with premature ejaculation, the beaters, I'm calling them out, the beaters, they should come and flog me. The people who sell these drugs that help with premature ejaculation know what they are doing, because that is not the solution to premature ejaculation. You are just, you're basically preying on an insecurity, right? For many people, the problem
is it me or who is breaking?
I don't know. Is it my network again?
Okay, I think it's you. Papa, I think it's you that is breaking.
I think it's you this time.
Yeah,
shall we?
Myself.
Yes. Shall we lay hands on your network?
Is it me that is breaking? So, but is it okay now? Is it stabilized?
Yes, it's better now. But it was you that was breaking. Oh wow, go for it.
Yeah. Yes, I think he has moved. He stepped off.
Yeah. You know, I had this conversation recently with a couple, right? And he was saying that he lasts just 2 minutes, and his issue is that his wife is getting comfortable with it.
It's like,
Come again.
I said recently, I actually had this conversation recently with a couple, right? And then the man was saying what brought them to wholesome sexuality is that they got married as virgins. I call them medical virgins. They got married at except penetrative sex. They got married as virgins. And then when they started having penetrative sex, it lasts 2 minutes. So they are worried now. He's worried that his wife is getting comfortable with the 2 minutes. So I asked him, who told you that you should last longer than 2 minutes? And that was where confession started. So he had been watching, he had been watching pornography. So he had built his mindset that these movie people, they do 1 hour, 2 hours. So that's what it should be. Right.
Exactly. And what people fail to realize is that during those pornographic shoots, they take cuts, they take breaks, they continue. But to you, it is just a long shoot that lasts for longer than an hour or 45 minutes. And so if it doesn't last this long, there's a problem. And people do not realize that the vagina has the same coating as the inside of your mouth, the squamous epithelium. It's the same coating that it has. And if I take something and continually rub the inside of your mouth for 1 hour, you're not going to like me.
At all.
No matter how smooth that thing is. So, first off, the whole myth that it should last, that long is a problem. And 2, some people realize, okay, fine, at this point, with the premature ejaculation, I have noticed that there is a problem. What do I do? Now, there are a couple of things a person can do which do not even involve drugs. Number 1 is that they need to work on their anxiety. Because some people also have what I refer to as performance anxiety. So, in the last 2 times, I lasted 2 seconds. Now, what is the proof that I'm going to last for more than, 2 seconds? So they're already anxious. If you're anxious, the likelihood that it's going to happen is higher. If you're worried, once you have this anxiety, the likelihood that you're going to come to ejaculate faster is higher. Now, you also need to have some certain kind of control over your urges. Now, because it is not just from touch to ejaculation. That's not how it happens. You can see in your mind's eye a particular graph that goes up, and you know the exact point you're going to ejaculate. But most people don't know when they get to that point. You just notice, oh, I'm at the point and I can't stop myself anymore. And that's it. You now need to discuss with your partner, because there's a particular method called the start and stop method, where your partner is actually supposed to touch you. Now, when your partner touches you and keeps touching you, to the point now, it requires a certain level of openness to do this. Openness because our Nigerians believe that the whole of their manhood is tied to that penis. And if something is wrong with the penis, something is wrong with them as a man.
That's
And I have noticed this in my practice, because you give a man a particular new drug, and the first question he will ask you is, doctor, does it affect down there? And if you say yes for any reason, I can promise you he's not taking that drug. He's not. He's not touching that drug with a 10-foot pole.
No matter the age of the man.
No matter the age, he's not touching it. So we have an unhealthy attachment to the manhood, understandably. So that's where you now need some level of openness with your wife and say, okay, look, there's this problem and this is what we need to do. So your wife is actually supposed to stimulate you to the point where you are about to ejaculate, and then she stops. And you are the one supposed to tell her, stop. She stops, those feelings go down, and then you start again. You stop, those feelings go down, and then you start again. Over time, you begin to find out that you're beginning to, first of all, understand how it happens. So it's not just fast anymore for you. You can tell how it's happening. Number two, you're also going to notice that you are beginning to control it. Right? And in controlling it, you can now control, because there are certain, sometimes during penetrative sex, when, your wife is saying, don't stop anytime soon, no, because I am also enjoying it as well. You also need to have that level of control over your own ejaculation, that you can last for as long as she wants you to. And I promise you it's not going to be for a long time, especially when she says don't stop. But we think don't stop is for the next 30 years. So continue to fire. Now, taking bitters and all that, I dare say that there's hardly any drug that is purported to make you last longer that doesn't contain alcohol, especially high levels of alcohol. And here's why they use alcohol. And people take it and they think it works. But here's why they use alcohol. Alcohol is a central nervous system depressant. So it depresses your central nervous system, right? In depressing your central nervous system, it depresses the kind of feeling or the intensity of the feelings relayed back to you from your penis. And so people take the bitters and quote and unquote, they actually do last longer, but they are not curing the problem. They're only finding a shortcut around it. Because in taking depressants, even you yourself, you're not enjoying it, let's be honest, because you're not feeling it in its entirety. So premature ejaculation and the link to masturbation.
Okay.
Also, some people think that certain sex positions will give you a boy or a girl.
Wow.
I didn't have to start attacking that particular myth. All I'm going to say that is wrong. If you like, hang the woman in the window or tie her upside down the fan. Those things don't happen. There is no sexual position that says this one is a boy and this one is a girl. None.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Doc. You go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
So, I'm trying to remember one particular myth, and it's so in the same vein as different positions lead to different sexes, the burden of the sex of the child actually depends more on the man than the woman. And many people don't know this. So people, can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the burden of who determines the sex of the child, whether the child is male or female, actually depends more on the man than the woman.
Oh, yes.
So, a woman has X chromosomes in all the eggs. They're X. Now, for you to give birth to a girl child, you need to have the XX. So the X sperm combining with the XX, right, will give you a female. For you to have a male child, you need a Y sperm combining with the XX. So you have an XY. Now, a woman only has X. And that's all she'll ever have, only X. A man has either X or Y. Now, even the medical community still argues as to which we think was fast, because people say, the Y swims faster than the X and they die faster. But in recent research, you say that that's not true. For some reason, it's just purely up to, God and chance. When a man ejaculates, it depends on which one gets to the egg first. Right? Now, here is the problem. For a woman, the egg will only last for as long as 24 to, I dare say, 48 hours. So once that ovulation happens in the middle of the cycle, that egg will only survive for the next 24 to 48 hours. And after that, it is useless till the next cycle. A man's sperm can live in the female reproductive tract for up to 5 days. So you can have sperm waiting for the egg to come out for the next 5 days. That's why people say, and I cannot get pregnant during my period. I don't agree, because there are some sperms that may stay up to a week waiting. They are patients. Those particular sperms, they've been blessed with the gifts, with the fruits of patience. So they have the fruits. They are patients. They are patients. So they would wait. Now, if you happen to release those kind of sperms, would wait for the egg to come out, and once it comes out, they go in and fertilize it. So the whole idea that I can't get pregnant during my period is false. If you're going to, if you do not want to, you say?
Yeah, I was saying that what you're saying is, you are saying that it's dependent on the man, whether it will be a male or a female. So really, it's not dependent on the man, it's dependent on the sperm that gets there.
No, so it is why I say dependent on the man is because we often tend to blame women in this part of the world for saying, man, I need to marry another wife because, quote unquote, I don't have a male child yet. But it's you, sir. She's working with what you gave her. Okay. So she's not working with something else.
Yes. So what I'm going to ask is that, so those men that have one wife and have 7 girls, and now go and marry another wife, and now have a boy. So all that was just purely chance.
Chance, purely chance. There is no, it's purely chance, because it's 50-50. And 50-50 is it's a very large probability. Which is why I don't, if you tell me something is 50-50, I don't like, you know, staking anything in any, because I know it can swing either way. And it can swing one way 10 times. You can throw a particular coin and it will land heads 10 times. Another person will throw that coin and it will land tails 10 times. So there is no rule that says if I throw a coin 10 times, it will land head 50 times and land tail 50 times. There is none. It's purely chance. So he can marry 6 wives and give birth to all girls until he's tired. And meanwhile, there are people who, you know, also get married and they have all boys. But if, you know, you are so tied to the sex of the child, and, you know, it is important that you know, that you have a particular sex. I don't want to say boy or girl. Then you can talk to your doctor, and your doctor will have other ways where they can, you know, help you facilitate the particular sex far better. Sometimes you can do artificial insemination where they harvest the sperm from you, harvest from the woman, and combine it and put it back in the woman. You know, this thing. So if it's very important that the sex of the child is very important to you, you can also.
Okay, Vera, do you have anyone?
Oh yes. When he was talking about the very patient sperms, he mentioned menstruation. So I've had people wondering if they can have sex during menstruation.
Okay. Yeah. So I assume we are talking to married people. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It depends on, you know, I always like to reaffirm these assumptions because sometimes some things can change. Some people are not comfortable with it. Some people are not. But medically, if you have a committed partner or a committed spouse, you know, your husband, your wife, and they are fine with it, you are good to go. Because the whole fear of period sex is, you know, sexually transmitted infection, the chances of you know, getting a sexually transmitted infection is higher during menstruation, right? You know, there's more sex, there's more vaginal fluid, there's blood. You know, sometimes sexual transmitted infections are also in the blood. If you have a committed partner, you guys are both committed to each other. I don't know where it's going to come from. The sex, you know, infection is going to jump from someone else. So as long as you're fine with it, you're fine. Some people are biased towards it. You know, I personally am biased against it. I don't like how messy it is. But there are other ways you can, you know, still clean up. You can have it in the bathroom if that's what you want. There are some benefits that it might have. One of them is it can help with menstrual pains, because during that, during the sex during menstruation, there's usually uterine contractions. Those uterine contractions can also help expel more waste products or menstrual produce or menstrual products, thereby shortening the length of the period generally. So if the period was supposed to last for like 4 days, sometimes if you engage in period sex, it may last for like 3 days. Like I said, it still depends on how comfortable both partners are towards it. And we are also making the assumption that both of you are committed to each other. In other words, there's no away match being played by any member of the team. It is only as long as you're fine with it,
Yes.
to go. Yes.
It's like Ihan Acho that did flying header today for Leicester City. Couldn't score for Nigeria versus did flying header away in a foreign land. When we couldn't score.
When we needed the flying header was not available.
Yeah, I'm telling you, now is a Leicester City flying header. Vera, do you have any sex facts you want to talk about before we take a few questions from Doctor? Do you have one? Give us one.
Okay, yes, sir. Aside from that menstruation one, so a lot of people think that oral sex is a safe sex, right? So they believe that infections can't be transmitted during oral sex, which is actually wrong, because fluids are still going to be exchanged. The difference between oral and penetrative sex, there is a penetration, it's just the location of the penetration. Why are you laughing at Brocco? Yeah. So some people think, you know what, because I don't want to get infected, let's just do oral and just let's go, right? But they also forget that penetration is penetration. Wherever it's entering, there's still going to be exchange of fluids. Like he just told us now that the mouth is coated with the same lining that the vagina is coated with. So that means that basically the same thing is happening both sides. So if there's penetration there, you can actually get infected.
Mm.
Then the myth also that condoms are safe. You know, so you are using a condom to prevent. Yes, it might, even with the pregnancy thing, there's a percentage. It's not 100% safe, right? Even with pregnancy, not 100% safe. So the myth is that, oh, if you use a condom, you are safe, no infection, no nothing. There's no guarantees. It's not true. You can still get infected. You can still get infected using a condom. So the only safe way is to stick to your spouse. Husband, stick to your wife. Wife, stick to your husband.
No flying header.
No flying header. No away man.
When it's not needed. Before we go to the questions, do you want to talk about those two things, or you're okay with it?
No. She has done justice to that. Sometimes there are some diseases that are also transmitted by contacts, mucosal contacts. Herpes, for instance, HPV, for instance. And those ones, HPV of the mouth, especially during oral sex, can lead to cancer of the throat or cancer of the mouth if it's not well taken care of. The same organism that can cause cervical cancer in women can also cause cancer in the mouth. It's just the location of the cancer. So it's the same thing. So yeah, she has.
Okay, okay, we're going to take like 3 questions before we let Doctor go. We don't want to keep him here all day. For those that are just coming on, Wholesome Sexuality is a page where we talk about things like this, sex in a wholesome way. We discovered that many people that try to talk about sex always try to make it look dirty, make it look like it's one flirt. It must be, promiscuously, it must be very rascally about it. But we think sex is a beautiful thing. It was created by God, and there's a right way to pass information in a wholesome way. So that's what we're doing here, basically. And so if you don't follow us yet on Instagram, please follow the page Wholesome Sexuality. Please follow the page Wholesome Sexuality. Then, of course, our guest today is Aproko Doctor. He's popular. He does an introduction. It's one of the pages I love. I literally see his post every day. So totally love it. So helpful and healthy information in a fun way. So it's just, it's something everybody should be a part of. So please follow his page if you're not following his page already. Then if you don't follow us on YouTube, don't subscribe on YouTube, please go subscribe to Wholesome Sexuality YouTube channel. Loads of interesting things. Our sexologist here, even though she's an expert now, she married as a virgin. In fact, she and her husband were virgins. And they just shared the story of their first night. It was very interesting. She was trying to dupe the man of God. So go and watch the story. You will see YouTube videos. Our recent post on our YouTube video. She shared her story of her first night with her husband. They were both virgins. It was very interesting. Very, very interesting. She did many rigmaroling that night, but the Lord got them through.
Lord prevailed.
I need to watch the video.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, to Wholesome Sexuality YouTube channel. Loads of helpful information that are there and it will help you. Then we have 2 webinars coming up that are free. Virgin and Thriving. If you're a virgin in the house and you just want to talk to other virgins, see how life is, how we cope in this mad world, there's a webinar coming up for you. Registration is required. The event is free, but you have to register. Then if you're a soon-to-wed couple, all right, there's also a webinar coming up for you. It's free, but you must register. So please, you can register at the link in the profile page of Wholesome Sexuality and just register. All right. So, and we're still doing some free counseling for now. So the WhatsApp numbers are there and all that. Maybe Vera, you also post your number, the WhatsApp number and the under the handle there. So just go on that one where you write it so that people can send you messages, be on our WhatsApp list, our mailing list. You get a loads of information. All right, so it's time to take like 2, 3, 4 questions before we let Doctor go. But Doc, let me ask you: is there an age that? Okay, let me ask this way. So you mentioned now the Swedish bitters thing. So apart from these bitters, and apart from, I didn't even know that's what bitters are for, by the way. So is that the sole purpose of this bitters thing they're carrying about? That's the sole purpose.
Come again?
Yes, I'm saying this bitters drink. Is that the sole purpose? That's the work they're trying to achieve.
Aside from alcohol being sold, many of them are marketed. They are marketed as last-long drugs.
Oh.
But you would get the same experience if you take a lot of whiskey, a lot of vodka, a lot of sapele water. The same experience you'll get because it's just marketing. People fall for this marketing. Oh, there are herbs inside, and these herbs, there's nothing, not waste of your money, waste of their money. Okay, and so it's just because people take this alcohol and their CNS is depressed. Yes, you will because it's alcohol, but it doesn't mean that it was fulfilling the purpose for which it was. It's just marketing.
Okay, so
that's why if you
So I was going to say, so apart from the bitter, so there is, for somebody that is really having challenges sexually, are there really drugs or things people can take? And should people even be taking the drugs at all? And are there drugs they can take to help those things?
Yes, so there are other pharmaceutical quote unquote interventions that you can use, especially for premature ejaculation. But we do not just jump from complaints to drugs. No, there are some lifestyle changes a person has to make first. If you have to try the start and stop method, you have to have more communication with your spouse. You can't skip all this. You can't skip primary 3, and all of a sudden you're in the university. You have to go through stages. It is when these stages are not giving you the certain results that you want that we now say, okay, there are even creams that people can rub on the head of their glans penis. On their glans penis, there are creams people can rub that can quote unquote deaden the area a bit. Some people can wear very thick condoms. There are very thick condoms that people can wear that can help, lessen the impact of the, stimulation. So you don't just jump from 1 to 10. Yes, they're pharmaceuticals, but, you would hardly find that some of them are even what you take. They are what you use outside. So why I am very particular about this herbal bitters, herbal drugs that are purported is a lot of our young men are taking it. Wow. And because they're taking it, sometimes these bitters can lead to kidney damage because these herbal drugs are given without prescription. Some people take as much as 4 or 5 bottles. And it's also alcohol. So it's attacking 2 organs. It's attacking the liver. It's attacking the kidneys at the same time. And for somebody who is always using it over and over again, it becomes a problem because habits, the kidneys are damaged, the liver is damaged. So I would say speak to a doctor, speak to a nearby doctor, speak to a doctor, let them help you in that process. And you can get freedom. Or you can just take on the problem of Nigeria, and I promise you that your premature ejaculation will win. I promise you, just willfully take on some problems. Say this problem I will solve it. I promise you to go away.
I'm telling you. Okay, Vera, please go to the question icon. Bring out a few. Let us take 2 or 3 questions before we close.
Okay. Is it normal to be born without a hymen?
Yeah, we've answered that kind of.
We have, yes. So there are different types. There's no manual that says that if this product comes without a hymen, please return to manufacturer. No. So there's not. Sometimes it's possible to be born without. Sometimes it's possible to be born with one that completely covers. That also needs you to see a doctor. So it just depends on the kind. Just that I did not plan to be very visual with this. You can just go to Google and search types of hymen, and I promise you're going to see different types, different kinds. You'll see some that barely even covers. There are some that is just one particular teardrop thing that enters into the vagina, and that's what's supposed to be the hymen. And if you have sexual intercourse with that kind of person, there's every possibility that they won't bleed. Sometimes, even when they bleed, you won't know.
Yeah.
Because it's very little. It's just like a small razor cut. And during the whole penetrative this thing, sometimes you come out and there's nothing. And you feel that, they don't tear this rubber before me. And it becomes a problem because of lack of communication. So it's possible to be born without one.
For the person asking, when we post this video, please go watch the beginning. We actually dealt with this in detail. He did a very good job of it in the beginning. So for those person asking that, when we post this video, go watch the beginning. We addressed it. Yeah, Vera.
Is giving a woman head safe?
Oral sex.
Yes.
So the question is giving my wife head safe? Or is giving my competent partner head safe? And as long as there's no flying header going on anywhere.
I'm telling you. Flying header.
As long as there's no flying header going on anywhere, when they need you to perform for your country, you won't. But you go to Leicester and be doing flying headers anyhow. It's safe. So if you are committed to each other and there's no away match being played, oral sex is safe. Sex is safe if between committed partners. It is where there is now introduction of a third party. That's where you now start talking about safe sex.
Okay, so I've had this question over time, so I like as it was brought here. It said ovulation period for virgins was hard because that's when they get honey the most. Why is that? So paraphrase, why do women basically get honey when they're ovulating?
You need to understand that a woman is born with all the eggs she would ever need in her life. Wow. Right? All the eggs. For men, it's different. We produce part time. So when we came empty. And at some point, you started producing. But for women, they came with all the eggs. The supply. Heaven just said, okay, we'll give you 5 million eggs. Go into the world and reproduce. Now, every month, there is a recruitment exercise that goes on in the ovaries. So the body makes a cry and says, who wants to become a human being? And hundreds of eggs
come up and say, yes, yes, want to become. And they say, we are going to put you in a crash course. Only one person will pass. And so that happens. When that happens, ovulation occurs because the body chooses sometimes only one from each egg. Sometimes you may do one from each ovary or one from one particular ovary. Now, you also need to understand that it is important to the body that that egg that was released must be fertilized. The body does not know whether you're Christian, you're Muslim, you're Anglican, you're Presbyterian. Your body does not know. Your body just knows egg has been released and the egg must be fertilized. Let's go, people. And so there are a lot of hormones that are released during that period, right? It is normal that those hormones will draw you towards having sex because the egg will not fertilize itself. Neither will the sperm jump from the... You have to go and do the things that will make that population control or population this thing to happen. So it is normal to be horny during that period, right? That is because there are certain hormones that go on during the body at that particular point in time that ensures that that egg is fertilized. Because if that egg doesn't get fertilized, as the egg is being released, or as the recruitment exercise is being going on, the body is also preparing the uterus, which is the womb, to house that baby. So it's building the walls of the uterus. When ovulation does not happen, the body now has to do the work of tearing down those walls again. So you can see why it does not like to waste resources. So it must happen. If you leave human beings alone, and the gestation period of human beings is actually 1 month, people getting pregnant every month. Because it is important for those eggs to be fertilized. The body does not like waste. So why does it happen? Because your body wants to fertilize that egg. So you also need to understand what's going on. So that, you know, especially the virgin around us, you know, I can boldly speak right now as a married man. We do not face the problems you face. So we used to face that problem. But, you know, God has delivered us from the trenches. It is important that you are aware that things like this are happening, so that when you have those urges, you know where it's coming from. And knowledge helps, you know, knowledge helps. If you don't know these things, you will just, you know, probably make the wrong decision, especially at that point in time. So even before it happens, you're already prepared before it, you know. Probably before the ovulation occurs, if it is, you know, if you're committed to Christ, you can, that point, that's not the point you are alone by yourself. It is the point where you have to stay around other people, and other people have to stay around you. You know, it is the point where your computer does not back a wall, your computer does not face a wall, your computer screen faces a room. You know, even for me, it is one of the things I do. Before, my office was set up in such a way that it's just a wall, and even not just a wall, 2 walls. So I am in between 2 walls. That was how my computer this thing was set up. And then I realized that, you know, the devil was always telling me to click a particular site, or the urge to click a particular site was always higher when it was facing those 2 walls. And I said, hey, rather than, you know, become a tool in the devil's hand, I turned the laptop and I faced the wall. Yes, my friend. Facing. So anybody who's walking past right now can see what's on my screen. It helps me. So during that particular ovulation period, that's not the period to be alone, because you already understand what's happening. You know, it is your body needing to fertilize an egg.
Okay. There's this question that says, okay, so people now believe that they are secondary virgins, right? You've been this virgin before, and then when you don't have sex for a long time, you are a virgin again. So the question is, not having sex for a long time, does it make a girl a virgin?
It makes you celibate. It makes you celibate.
is not a virgin anymore, because the dictionary meaning of a virgin is someone that has not had an experience of sex. If you've already had sex, you're no longer a virgin. But if you have made a decision to stay away from it, then that makes you celibate. And it does not make you any less of a person. Your value as a person does not reduce or increase because, you know, I am not celibate, I'm no longer a virgin. So that particular stigma needs to stop.
Yeah. All right, very good. Then give us tough question. Other question, they're easy question.
They are all asking about lubricants and.
I saw one, sex toys. Is sex toys allowed in the bedroom?
Okay.
I saw it. It passed sometime in the future. So I might just answer it. It's a tough question.
Doc, what do you think?
Sex toys. I encourage my people to have sex toys. And here's why. Sex was meant to be enjoyed, right? Between two people. The sex toy is not a person. The sex toy is a tool. And if you can control the environment in which that sex toy is being used, you can actually have, quote unquote, more enjoyable, better sex. And here's why. For example, there are people who do not, in the beginning of this video, we mentioned there are people who do not achieve orgasm from penetration. For them, it will be clitoral stimulation. And even clitoral stimulation still differs in the vigorosity of the clitoral stimulation. Some women require more than others, more clitoral stimulation than others, depending on, you know, the different, how different the person is. What I would say is this: men need to stop seeing those toys as their competition. No, it's actually there to help you. It can be used. There are people who have, you know, sexual disorders, and there are also, you know, people who are experts, you know, sexologists, who also encourage, you know, this particular what's it called? This particular devices. Where the problem is that you now need to know which one do we need, because sexual toys differ, right? The most common sexual toy that people talk about are the dildos. And that is where I might have, quote unquote, a problem with. Or that's where some people are a little bit, averse to it, because this thing looks exactly like my thing. So why is it in the bedroom? Is it that, you know, what is here cannot satisfy you? But where I would encourage sex toys is for people who require clitoral stimulation. But before you do that, you need to also have this conversation with your partner. It's not your competition. It's not your this thing. And if done correctly, can actually lead to better sex. But I feel that it needs to be like, it needs to start from the beginning, and, you know, why we need sex. Why do you need it? You know, if you need it, because it's not everybody that will need it, right? But there are people who do. There are people who will not, you know, quote unquote, enjoy sex, especially for people. For example, people who have had some kind of clitoral mutilation done may require some form. I get. So it's still, I guess this is where now, you know, personal biases now come in. So for me, it depends on the couple. It depends on their needs. And if they do, I do not hold it against people using sex toys in the bedroom, as long as both of you know.
The issue most times is that, you know, those toys too can now become a thing of themselves, you know, just like you mentioned, thing. Some people don't even need the outlet.
Exactly. So which is where this particular it's a sexist sex is more communication than the actual act itself.
Yeah.
And people just assume sex is penetration or sex is, oral sex. No, sex is first communication. And it's in that communication where like I said, if it is a need, especially now, there are people who actually need it. It's not everybody that needs it. So, like I said, in the case of the treatment of premature ejaculation, it's not everybody that jumps from, oh, I have premature ejaculation, to beaters. There are stages, right? Before you go for the drugs that you have to take, you also have to try these other methods. If you need more stimulation, I just feel, there are a lot of things that are not said or that I can't say now, but we might come back to this topic some other day and, really dwell on it so that we can help answer a lot of questions.
Okay. Okay. No problem. No problem. Vera, is there a last question for this, doctor?
I think I'm good because they're all centering about the same thing. Some things we've actually dealt with over time. So they need to follow the page and start from the beginning of the page. A lot of information. A lot of information is on it. Asking masturbation, asking, what they call it, lubricants. These are things we've actually dealt with. We have videos that, from the beginning of the page, we have videos that have dealt with all these things. So that's why I didn't want to bring them up again.
Okay. All right. So please, for those that are just coming on, when we post this particular video, Doctor has answered a lot of questions. So please try and watch from beginning. And then if you don't yet follow this page, Wholesome Sexuality, please make sure you follow the page. We bring wholesome stuff like this. We'll talk about, sexual issues. And whether you're single or married, the truth is that if you're single, you can start learning now. If you're married, also, lots of helpful stuff. And we have a YouTube channel, Wholesome Sexuality, loads of helpful stuff there. It will help you. The current video now there is the story of our sexologist, our wedding night. She and husband were virgins and married our wedding night. So a very interesting story. So you want to go and watch it and hear their story. If you like gossip, you will enjoy it. She wanted to dupe the man of God, but God did not allow. So go and watch it.
I need to watch it.
Yes, please. So just click link in the bio, will take you straight to our YouTube channel. Watch it and please subscribe while you're there. It helps us to know who are being blessed by it and it keeps us going. So please subscribe to the channel, watch it and all that. Then our WhatsApp number is there. If you need, for now we're still doing some free counseling for those that need it. So please take that number, send us a WhatsApp message. The sexologist will be willing to talk with you. And remember, if you don't follow Aproko Doctor, great page. One of the pages that I look forward to every day. Doctor, where do you even get time to shoot those things every day? You shoot it, many in one day and start posting, or you shoot them every day.
Yeah. We shoot in batches. If not, I won't have the time to do any other thing. So
I'm telling you.
we shoot in batches and then release as needed.
Yes, people don't know the work that goes into content creation. It's a full-time job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that is why it is painful when you guys don't follow and don't subscribe and don't like, don't engage the post. These things take a lot of work.
And don't share.
Yes, and you don't share, you don't like, you don't subscribe. Engage the post. If you want to be seeing all our posts, you engage the post. That way, it always comes on your feed. So it's important you engage with the posts. Either like, subscribe, share, stuff like comment. It helps us know that you are getting blessed and it keeps us going. Subscribe to YouTube channels and all that. It's helpful. So thank you, Doctor. We know you are crazy busy also. But thank you for making our time.
Thank you.
We learned so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. So, Vera, you're the one that will sign us out. So, thank you, everybody.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Turn on your notifications because we have a lot of content coming up, a lot of wholesome content, right? Turn on your post notifications so you would always get them back to back. Send us a message on WhatsApp so that you could also get information on what is happening per time. All right, Papa. Signing you
All right.
out.
So before you post, post this video.
Yes, I'll save the
All right.
video. Good night.
Okay. Good night, everyone.